Howdy, y'all. Clifton friggin' Higgins. Howdy, sir. How you doing today? And of course, as always, because I want you to feel welcome. So welcome to the very, very last Friday Tailgate of July. Howdy, Joe. B Gnome Joe. Now, B Gnome, are you up in Nome as in Alaska? Just wondering. Yeah, this is definitely the last one of July. I'm not going to have another July tailgate a week from now. I swear to God, it's not going to happen. But there might be a Saturday tailgate. That depends upon my wife. If she decides to wake up early, probably not. If she decides to wake up after I've already started it, well, I've already started it. Ah, good old Hotlanta. Well, then you'll understand what it's like being in this kind of heat and humidity. Well, I guess so does good old Mr. Higgins there. Ooh, Romeo and Julieta, 1875. There are about 6 different versions of the 1875. I have found that all of them are quite tasty in one way or the other. I do tend to stay away from the Connecticut because it is just a bit light for my preferences. When you let me make sure I qualify that. If I smoke a cigar, I should be able to literally sit there with other people smoking and talking and doing whatever, and even watching them smoke great cigars, I'm not going to be interested in smoking another cigar for at least an hour, because nicotine satisfaction has a certain point. The Connecticut's, for me, if I'm sitting around in a room full of guys and I've smoked a Connecticut and we're busy talking, 5 seconds later, I'm like, screw this, I'm lighting another one. I'm going to have another one. So that's the reason I stay away from the Connecticut's of the Romeo and Julieta 1875s. It's just they don't stick with me long enough for me to stay satisfied. But they are pretty damn tasty. So yeah, if you like them, that's great. And howdy Ganji and Dave, how are y'all? Oh, by the way, y'all missed my wife. She just went inside. In case y'all heard the door open and close. She hates when I reference her. And Boris, howdy sir. Huva ilta Boris. Jamut. It took me forever to figure out what J Mutt meant. But I looked it up. Jamut. Effing 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Arkansas right now. Ugh. Yeah. That's the actual temperature. I'm happy with right now that it's only at 95 here. But the heat index says 104 to 110. Now that depends upon how close to the coast you get and if you're actually catching some of that coastal breeze that's coming through right now. When it was blowing here, it felt reasonably nice because there was air movement. Now it's stagnant. It's like if you ever sit in a hot tub and you lower your mouth right down to the edge of the water and it steams up at you and you catch that first breath and you're going, God, it hurts to breathe. That's Houston right now. Just a humid, wet mess. And I'm wearing black and a winter hat. Yes, I know it's a winter hat because there is no venting on this thing at all. Except for those little pinholes, which are only put in there for looks, quite honestly. And a long drive home. Ugh, goodness gracious. Ganji, luckily it's Nebraska. Something tells me that your long drive home is not quite as long as you make it out to be. But I will give you for example of a long drive and day of work. I started at around midnight on the morning of and drove from south side of Houston. You can look at this up if you really want to. Friendswood, Texas to there is a spot right on the border of Mexico that is either Eagle Pass or Eagle Lake, and I always get it confused, but I think it's Eagle Pass. So from Houston to Eagle Pass, I worked an 8-hour day in Eagle Pass. And then I drove to Corpus Christi so that I could be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I started in the dark. I got to Eagle Pass in the dark. I got to Corpus Christi in the dark. Somewhere in all that time, my day disappeared. And oh yeah, then I still had paperwork to do so that I could get it mailed out to the hospital that I was inspecting. So yes, I understand about the worst part of any of it is definitely the drive. But at least corn is somewhat interesting. It's like driving down through a tunnel of corn that stretches forever. Every once in a while you pass through a town and there's a blinking light that says More corn. I forgot. Yeah, it is Nebraska. Never mind. Carry on. You're right. 5 minute drive, and that is a long drive. So, Cliff, Romeo and Julieta, 1875. What color is the band? And I'm pointing at what the band is. So, what color is the band? Maybe I can figure it out by that. I'm pretty good. Red. Ah, okay. I know which one you've got then. The red one is, yeah, it's pretty damn good. Now, if you had a cream color band, that would be the Connecticut. If you had the brown color band, that is the all Nicaraguan one. The red is just a good mix from all over the place. White lettering, gold emblems. Yes, sir. I know exactly which one you're talking about. That's basically the classic 1875. It's considered a natural. Oh, there is also a black band for the 1875, and that's a Maduro. So what you're smoking is a natural. It's got tobaccos from 4 different countries, if I remember right. I know Nicaragua's in there. I'm fairly certain that Honduras and Dominican Republic are in there, but I do not know if it... No, it's not Brazilian. Might be Costa Rica. But anyways, yeah, those are decent sticks. I smoked a lot of those. Oh, and Cliff, other than monocots, me personally, I prefer duocots. That way there's enough cot for the wife to be in there with me. Howdy DDT. Houston is absolutely phenomenal. As long as you like heat and humidity, Houston is always phenomenal. Gotta tell you. And think of it this way. There are 300 days of every year that you could ride a motorcycle. The 5 undesirable motorcycling days are it's either raining too damn hard or it's finally gotten cold one of those 3 days. And actually, the crazy part is, while it's not actually that cold, it's the amount of humidity in the air. And if you're on a motorcycle and it's cold and humid, it'll cut right through you. 40 degrees, 100% humidity on a motorcycle, and you will be colder than 16 degrees and 5% humidity. And people think I'm lying, but I've done both. 16 degrees was difficult, but because there was no humidity, it was doable. There was a little more humidity down along the coast. I was up in Braintree, Massachusetts, and I drove all the way around that hook of a cape. When you get out there on that cape, it definitely got a lot colder because you got some breeze coming in off of the ocean, or the water on the other side. I'm not sure which side it was blowing from, really. It just started getting colder and colder. But I made it to the end of it, turned around and made it all the way back. I would do that again over 40 degrees and 100% humidity. Ganji, that sounds like a hunter's paradise. Now, I know that song. I'm not going to sing that song. They hit certain notes I can't do. Cliff, I like to hunt pheasants, but I do not like to clean pheasants. Mostly because, well, I always seem to miss a damn pellet, and it always ends up in my damn mouth. Well, I tell you what, my brother-in-law's ranch is a hunter's paradise every time we decide to start hunting hogs. When they get real bad, he'll actually rent a helicopter that's set up for hunting. Oh, yeah. I've gotten to go on the helicopter one time, but oh, really? Just that's it? That'll take care of all the pellets also? Ooh, Boris, that sounds actually absolutely wonderful. And you give me 60 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and I'm just going to be sitting here going like, man, loving it. Now, to go from Stevie Wonder to Stevie Blunder, I feel like I'm being roasted alive. I mean, I know that's how you clean them that way, but it's the whole digging all the pellets out of the good meat that really I'm just not good with. I always seem to screw it up. Ganji, think about it like this. I was more concerned when Stevie Ray went than Kobe. Well, I know Ganji, but that's the problem. I quite literally hate that I always end up spitting pellets when I'm eating pheasant. At least if I've hunted it. I'm either too damn good with it and hit it with too many shot, or I just happen to be the lucky bastard that always going to end up with that one lead pellet. I don't need lead poisoning. Thanks. Oh, it took me a while to figure out exactly how far to lead. I used to lead them too much. I'd get overexcited, and I knew to lead, but, well, leading by too much is just as bad as leading by not enough. If it's moving, you have to aim to where it's going to be when those pellets get there. And there's a lot of people that aim directly at where the bird is, and they miss it because the pellets go behind it. And there's a lot of people that get over anxious, which is what I used to do, and they would they would aim too far in front, and sure, the pellets would get there. Sometimes you'd actually hit when one single pellet would get there just right. For the most part, I was missing them. Cliff, I remember those days. I went to a high school that I dubbed Hard on High. Pretty much, I should have been going to the doctor and didn't know about it. I'd walk in the morning, my stuff would get stiff. I'd walk out 8.5 hours later. I didn't realize that you're supposed to call a doctor and go to the hospital if you have an erection for more than 4 hours. There were just too damn many pretty women in that school. I couldn't help myself. Use stainless steel birdshot made for goose hunting. I'll take your word for it. You can buy a big ass lump of lead and you can cast those pellets. And shotguns work pretty damn well on black powder, just saying. As long as you've got the machine to crimp down the shot without blowing it up in your hands. Quite honestly, I'll go with slower birds and bow and arrow nowadays. Turkey's nice and fun with bow and arrow. Of course, you end up with those damn arrows that have a head on them like this because you're just supposed to try and decapitate them. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like you're trying to take a 3-inch hole saw and spear the air somewhere near that damn bird, and you just hope that it makes connection. And yeah, Sunday Morning Coming Down was a damn good song. And that picture of Johnny Cash going like this, right off into the camera, that was during singing that song on a live show that they told him he was going to have to change the words, Lord, I wish that I was stoned. And he decided he wasn't going to do it. Not only did he decide he wasn't going to do it, he was also going to piss off the network at the same time. And I've got some people in my family that saw that live. That was back before they had that 10-second dump button. So that came right through the black and white TV, and everybody was like, ugh. Except for the kids, they were like, this shit rocks. Oh, come on. Anything wrapped in bacon is good. I'm willing to bet that if I wrapped enough bacon around a dog turd, I could get you to eat it. As long as it's cooked just right. Because bacon. Yeah, I don't mind the sporting aspect and the actual eating aspect. Uh, but I've never really went hunting when it wasn't for all the meat of it. When we hunt deer, it's to get all of it. Even when we hunt hogs, even if we're not going to be using all of whatever we get, we make sure to donate a bunch of it to the homeless shelters and such. I mean, after it gets processed and all that. But you'd be surprised how much meat they can actually get from a good sized hog. Woo! I dare y'all to tell me what kind of car and what year that was. Don't get me wrong. I love, from the rooter to the tutor as far as hogs go. It's not a big deal. All of it can go. But if you're doing a helicopter hunt, there's too much. Once I know that the freezers are full, all the way full, there is 0 point in pitching more out there other than to just give it away. Well, it was not a Plymouth Road Runner and it was not a 2015 Ford Taurus. In fact, the closest one to a year would have been Ganji, except for, I mean, well, because he said 1970 and Cliff said 2015. It was a 55 Bel Air. '55 Bel Air. More chrome in its front bumper than Cliff has in his whole truck. True, Cliff, I agree with you. But if you were able to do like a helicopter hunt, seriously, there is no way you can get all of the meat that you can kill and process it and put it in only 3 freezers. Last time that I was at a helicopter hunt, not on a helicopter hunt, I was not on the helicopter, but I was at the location where it was happening, working with the ground crew, trying to make sure that people stayed clear of the kill zones. Must have been 16 of those chest freezers that you could hide 3 and 4 bodies in. Like the trunk of a Cadillac Eldorado from back in the day. could easily put 3 big bodies back there. Yeah. After butchering, 16 of that size were fully loaded. And we contacted the local food bank, well, local for this place. They eventually ran out of room in their walk-in freezer. They just didn't have it no more. Hey, Cliff, you ain't got to tell me. Hogs are the rule of 3. 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes, 3 seconds, and guaranteed they have already dropped another litter of 8 to 12. I've never seen a litter that was smaller than 8. I've never seen a litter that was bigger than 12. I've heard that there's litters that are bigger than 12, but I've never seen it myself. Gaji, that tends to be more the case. People just keep pulling trigger. Well, Boris, that's what wild hogs are out in farm and cattle land. Is what happened was people decided that they were going to have hogs, and then they found out all the other problems that hogs are, because they start off as cute little things, and then they get to big old monstrous things, and you got to keep feeding them some bitches. And if you're not breeding them, well, then when you kill the last one, you killed them all. Well, there were plenty of people that just let them loose after they stopped being cute. Well, they went wild and feral, and if not put under a controlled kill every once in a while, they will destroy all the land, make it so fallow you can't plant anything, be just dead. They do that. It's bad. All right, Ganji, you take care, and remember, on the drive home, you can probably be listening to Yardism. Or you can listen to us. I mean, no big deal. I'm still here. Still here. No big deal. But yeah, you get enough hogs, and you got to take them out before they destroy everything. They'll make the water bad so that you can't use it for other livestock, because they will pee and shit right off in it. And somebody wants to say that there's a problem with my language on that one. No, I'm sorry. You better know what talking about with hogs. By the way, bowl call. What are you smoking? What are you smoking in? Cliff doesn't have to say it, because I think he's smoking an 1875 from Romeo and Julieta with the red band. For those of y'all who don't know, I'm again having an Alec Bradley Black Market. I thought about having a smaller sized cigar, a punch, today, but it cooled off 1 degree, and I decided to go a little bit larger to the full size. Ohio Piper, howdy sir. How are you doing today? Glad to have you in. James Burrows. Howdy, sir. Welcome in. Welcome all. And for any of y'all who might be out there lurking, don't be afraid. From this distance, I don't bite hard enough that you got to be afraid. That's good to hear, Jeff. That's real good to hear. Oh. It is a little warm today, so I do suggest some sort of a sports drink or cold water, or combine that and drink a sports drink and a cold water. Motzek Sailing City and lit a bowl of MBHH Burley. Boris, you are the man. Definitely, Cliff, don't be skirt. Ain't nothing to be skirt of. Unless, of course, you're female, and then go ahead, wear a skirt. This is just where we hang out. Come on, guys, y'all. Get on in here. Join the fun. Let's see, we were talking about hunting, and well, we've talked about cigars. Anybody got a subject they want to discuss? I mean, go ahead, throw some answers out there. We'll see what we can talk about. Come on, Cliff, that's a kilt, not a skirt. And I'm not sure what a kilted pipette would be. Isn't that little glass tubing that you stick into water and you drop your finger on top of it and lift it up and transfer a little water to something else? Isn't that a pipette? Cliff would know. It's like some doctory type thing, I'm sure. No, but you can emoji just fine. Ah, I'm having a great day, honestly. Okay, so that is a pipette. Okay, cool. There's a bunch of knowledge in here sometimes it doesn't make sense to even me, but there's a bunch of it in there. Well, Boris, there's no nice way to put it. But I hear that you wear a kilt because sheep can hear zippers. Go ahead. Man, I remember high school chemistry. Whoo, high school chemistry was great. First class of the day. I had all the cheerleaders and the drill team, you know, the women that wave the flags around. I had all the cheerleaders and the drill team in that class for some strange reason. There were three guys. One guy was in a wheelchair. had like a real bad case of spina bifida. Uh, Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet, though. His name was Cordell. I remember that quite clearly. Uh, of course, I was one of the guys, and then another guy was just an average student, normal guy. Didn't really do much of nothing special one way or the other. I barely passed that chemistry class. It was very hard to pay attention to what the teacher was talking about. That would have been fun, except for the fact that they weren't going to allow us to have anything that we could actually light anything with. Howdy, Paul. Great to see you there, sir. And say hello to Sharon for us. We'd be remiss in not saying hello to her. Of course, back in high school, I would have smoked a cigarette, not a cigar. But the teacher, in all of her wisdom, kept grouping me with all the prettiest freaking girls in that class. Every time we had some sort of chemistry lab, I would do everything I could to get done with it with 100 as fast as possible so that I could sit down so I wouldn't embarrass myself. Like I said, called that sumbitch hard on high for a reason. It was very difficult. Oh, don't worry about it, Paul. I can handle thumbs downs and thumbs ups, and I figure the way that it works for me is like I've always said, y'all have a billion options of things y'all could be doing. And for the ones that are here hanging out with me, that is absolutely thanks enough. $100 degrees Fahrenheit, 96. Oh, better ventilation might be good, but trust me, I'm wearing shorts. It's getting plenty of ventilation, and they're kind of baggy shorts, made by Dickies. So they breathe well, but they're thick still. And Mr. Freeze, howdy, sir. Great to have you in. And Sharon, howdy, ma'am. Yes, I am okay. Thank you for asking. How are you, ma'am? Great to have you in. And Flame on Willie. Y'all just remember, if you are asking William of the Nashville Mafia about flames, he will give you something to talk about. But that's supposed to be a pipe lighter. That was throwing more flame than my 3-burner torch for cigars. I've been missing a few shows lately, and of course, I will apologize profusely about that. And everyone else not sitting on a pillow. Love that movie. Go ahead, say it. Say it. Howdy, James, by the way. Boris, yeah, that's great. You got to have that ventilation. The boys got to be kept happy. I'm not sure about master of butane lighters, but you've mastered one use of them. Cliff, you don't have to clean up. You haven't been that bad. Trust me. I've been worse. I'm just happy she wasn't here when I explained about the 4-hour method for why I called my high school what I called my high school. But I won't mention that again, at least not right now. And for anybody who didn't catch the reference that James, also, aka Dingus, decided to throw at us, that was from A Knight's Tale, with a guy that was born on the same day I was born. Also, the same day Iron Man was born. Yeah, I know. Y'all are all looking it up right now. Oh, and just so that Willie, and in case he runs into John, feel like we are keeping up with their tradition. One more time, and with feeling. Bowl call. I am still smoking a Black Market Robusto. Thank you, Willie. I really do tend to like this one, especially in the heat. It breathes well, and it's got a certain amount of a moisture wicking, which is really good in the Houston humidity because it sort of evaporates, which makes it feel cooler, even if it's not. Wait, Sharon's gone red? Did I embarrass her? Jeez, I hope I didn't. Ah, you smoked a paper-filled pipe tobacco instrument. Yes, I understand. Not paper-filled. I could go for the heavy rain and the wind right now. Except for the fact that it looks like I might get some heavy rain. And that's really going to ruin the rest of my evening because it's probably going to rain while I'm trying to watch everybody else's show and I'm going to be dodging weather. Damn it. So your wife walked in on you, huh, Cliff? That would be the only way that Cliff is going to die and go to hell. Is if his wife walks in on him while he's about right here. It's too late to blow it out. And you know if you swallow it, you're going to be sick. Oh, she's headed to Nashville right now. Willie and John, make sure to find Mrs. Higgins. Show her around to the sites. Make sure she has a good time. Generally keep one of the heavies on her so that she makes it home from her great weekend, but does not leave too early so that Brother Cliff can actually enjoy the silence, solitude, and the YTPC while enjoying a pipe or cigar as necessary. Oh, you don't have to say nothing to her. Just, arrange for her to have that permanently flat tire until Monday when she's on her way home. But have the magical fixed spare that is the actual original tire. Yes, that would probably work. Careful, Cliff. We can't talk about Mr. Hart, Bret Hart. For any of y'all who know about the WWF or E or whatever the heck it is now, y'all might recognize that name and his nickname. Boris, I'll be there with you. Mostly because if it's hot enough to burn, it's hot enough to light. And as anybody who knows anything about air conditioning will tell you, you have to have heat to get cool. Yeah, Willie, the suggestions of talking tobacco with Mrs. Higgins is well, it's probably best done by people from across the pond or, either pond. So I'm thinking that Paul or Glenn would be perfectly okay talking tobacco to Mrs. Higgins. Anybody else is probably a little too close. Though Jose Manuel Cavendish, he could probably get away with it too. There's no direct route, open roads from United States to Chile. At least not his part of Chile. So he's probably safe. Well, Cliff, does she like rocking chairs? I think she and John could get along in that case. You know, Boris, that might be an acceptable way to go. Hell yeah. Carry down a tanker or two worth of water and we can just sauna that stuff. Or I could just stay in Houston. Then I don't need the water or the hot stones. They're just going to stay that way. Oh yeah. So yeah, she and John would get along just fine. All right, so it's getting pretty close to time. I do have a joke for you, just because. And I got some Arkansas people in here so they can verify that this is actually a possibility. There's this health nut guy, and he was basically hiking out there through Arkansas. Became lost in some backwoods off in the middle of nowhere. I came across this cabin, saw a little smoke coming up from the chimney, and he decided he'd stop, ask for some directions. But when he got there, this guy was filling a plate right off an old wood burning stove. And, the old guy was happy to have some company. He said, "Well, come on in, share a meal with me. We'll get you home. Don't worry about it." And the guy's looking at him for a little while. He sees the sink and that old tub of lye soap and all that. The place looks a little dingy, but I mean, at least it's not outside. So he looked over at the guy. He's like, "Well, was this plate cleaned?" And the guy said, "Well, yeah, cleaned by soap and water. So are the forks and the glasses." And the guy said, "Well, all right, let's go ahead and do this." So they started eating, and guy gets done, and the old man says, "Well, here, let me clean up the dishes, and I'll get you back to the main route so that you can get on back home." He walks to the front door, opens front door, sets the plates on the front porch, and says, "Here soap, here water." Go ahead, Cliff. You can deny it. Howdy, Martin. At least one of us told a good joke today. In fact, I think Cliff had probably heard that joke before, because by emojis he was like saying this was not going to be good. Damn fly. Boris, that is very true. Some people have to have things just the damn perfect temperature, otherwise they're going to complain about it. They'd complain that a pure gold bar was the wrong color of gold. Oh, Cliff says it's the truth. So either that joke was too close to the truth, or he's saying that it's the truth that he's heard it before. And one joke from Texas. Now, in Texas, we have this place called Texas A&M, and in that place, we call them Aggies. And we tell Aggie jokes. It's very similar to other people's jokes, except for we take the race out of them. We just put a college name to them. And recent events have got me thinking about that, because recently I heard that the Texas A&M library burned down. Both volumes. One wasn't even finished being colored yet. Well, Martin, I'd allow you to put it in there. You can try it if it doesn't show up. Not a problem, Cliff. I have always enjoyed every last one of y'all being here. It was worth every penny of it, too, wasn't it, Willie? Okay, so pretty close to being Chad will be on here in a minute. If any of y'all got anything y'all need prayers about across the weekend, go ahead, mention them. Don't worry, we're kind of all inclusive here. Okay, so Martin, that did show up on this end. So martintobacco@gmail.com. And let's look over here on this other screen for a second. Make sure Chad's not on yet. Nope, not on yet. But pretty soon. So, like to make sure that we can get this out before it all happens. Y'all remember we've got Chad Yardism. We've got Cane Rod. We've got Martin. And that's just this evening. They're all back to back to back. You really should kind of try and stay tuned for a few of these. Tomorrow we've got Steph and Virtual Pipe Club. Possibly me tailgating. There's no guarantees there yet. And, well, I don't know about Steph because she might be somewhere in the middle of a move right now. And All Briared Up, and It's Just Chris, and wow, then we move into Sunday where we know we've got Kilted Piper Steve, and then we've got Ohio Piper Jeff. And goodness gracious, the YTBC has been wonderful to me and to all of us, honestly. We've really blown up this whole thing. I think it's a wonderful thing that we are growing and that the content is growing and that we are making things happen all the time. Oh, gosh, that's right. Dingus and Jose are also on Sundays. Darn, I'm forgetting things. Which is the reason we do like to mention, hey, if you've got a show and you want to get it listed, contact Phil at the Briar Report. Tell him what you're doing. Tell him when you're doing it. He'll get it in. It's pretty simple. And besides that, Phil's a really great guy. The more you talk to him, the more you're going to like him. That's pretty much true with almost everybody here. Yeah. And, so y'all get ready with your hip flask because the 7 shots of Martin. So let's just remind ourselves, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We do the best we can with that. We always have. We're going to keep doing it. I think we're pretty well set that we're going to do that. And, as always, Chad's not on quite yet. But I'm going to go ahead and get the closing in. We'll sit here and chat for a little while after it, though. But, the long lives big bowls and long ashes. And all right, the show is on tonight. I should be at 60 hours tonight. Wonder if that's a new level. Not a problem. The best part about this whole tailgating thing is actually getting to know y'all as friends and as family. I started doing this just as something to do while I sat and smoked. It's actually become a lot more fun to almost not have a smoke because there's so much to say. Y'all are interested in so many things, and well, I'm interested in just about everything. If only I could type as fast as I can know the answers. I'd be killing it on these trivia things that Chad has. I see he did one about 21 hours ago now. Means he must have been on right after Mike. I missed it. Don't worry, Cliff. As long as you're not trying to type and do dental work at the same time, I guess it's okay. Can't dig cavities for shit. Rip. Might be a little painful without an anesthesiologist. I hear you there, Willie. Oh. I hear you there, Ron. Howdy, Ron, by the way. Glad to see you in today. I can't guarantee that Chad's coming on. Now, nobody told me that he's not coming on. Normally somebody will at least tell me. But we'll hang out till he shows up. No big deal. It's just a nice, easy, warm, steamy day. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stay for all of Chad's show. I've got fish to cook. Picked up some nice cod today. Decent price. $13 a pound. Got about 2 pounds worth. Pretty good stuff. Found out that with a little butter and some spices and a little splash of some white wine in a foil pack in the oven for not very long, comes out just right. And no, it's not Cape Cod cod. Seems to have come from Iceland. Which is okay. I don't mind foreign fish. Except for the fact that I live in, practically in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's too hot for cod. I'd never get cod if it wasn't for places like Iceland that they can fish cod year round. So, anybody got any good plans for the weekend? I mean, yeah, I know. Hanging out with me, that's the best part, right? For all of y'all who just had a little bit of vomit come up in your throats, I apologize about that. Oh, yeah. Hey, I have not shaved since January. So here it is, almost 8 months, and I have grown a whole 2 fingers worth of beard. 2 whole fingers. That's it. It's all that's ever going to grow. With a natural part right there. Well, Willie, that's the best thing. Yes, Ron. Steph definitely did say that Skip is probably going to be home by the end of next week. Uh, so, y'all make sure to think about Skip. Traveling can always be a little dangerous, and well, we don't need him to be any more dangerous than it already is. Howdy, Scott. Great to have you in today. I'm running a little long because Chad's not on yet. He might be doing something at the house. Might have had time to get away from him. No big deal there. Ah, the Olympics and the YTPC. Yeah, that's a good plan there, Boris. Yeah, DDT. I think my beard has grown a full 6 inches in my entire life if I glued every piece of it back together. It won't grow. I'm never going to have a Chad or a Boris. It's not going to happen. It gets much hotter out here. I'm probably going to shave it off just to get rid of it. Helps with the ventilation. Oh God, there's always issues in Cuba. I saw this program one time on Cuba where this guy was no respirator or anything. He was mixing components for brake pads in an open barrel. And one of the components he was adding in was asbestos. And when they asked him, why is he doing that? He said, well, it's either this or I starve. Ron, there is no way I will live to be 98. The men in my family hardly ever get past, well, just about none of them ever live past 70. My dad has finally made it past 70. The oldest one I've ever heard of, guy I've ever heard of in my family, about the same time he hit 65, he went senile, so he didn't remember hitting 80 or anything else either. Yeah, but Boris, I don't need this to keep my chin from freezing. Hell, it can grow from now until it gets cold again. And it'll be the same length it is now by the time it gets cold again. Though I have thought about shaving off just the center stripe so I can have some mutton chops. It's not happening. It's already got a natural part. I don't need it to be artificially natural. Yes, that is thunder you're hearing in the background if you're hearing it. Yay. At least it waited until it started to cool off a little bit before it's going to rain on us. Chad, are you coming on, buddy, or am I just going to go ahead and run until 6 o'clock? All right, well, the hell with it. I'm calling it. Chad's not coming in. We're going to go at least for another hour. Unless somebody else wants to go live, and then we'll jump over on yours. God is now angry at me for making that decision, but that's okay. Yeah, that's a good possibility there, Ron. I just don't have any water to splash on it from right where I'm at. No big deal. So if anybody sees Chad show up in your notifications or whatever, let us all know, and we'll jump over to Chad's channel. Not a problem. But hey, hour number 2 of the tailgate. Why not? We're already here. Like I said, if any of y'all feel like taking over, I'm not going to tell you no. No reason to. And none of y'all get mad at Chad. We do not know his situation right now, or at least I don't know his situation right now. Maybe something's come up. He just absolutely can't make it today. Things happen. Life happens. Family first and all that. You needed a beard and to lose 25 pounds. Well, losing 25 pounds and running a barbecue stand is not going to happen, Cliff. It's not going to happen. You're already skinny enough. I don't trust a skinny cook. Don't lose no more. If you make that weight, you keep at it, but don't lose much more. Good Lord. No, Scott, don't worry about it. This is Tailgate. Maybe you have something that you need to say. All comments are welcome. You won't be the first one to lag. I've lagged sometimes wondering what in the heck people are already talking about in chat, and the video's not caught up, and I'll hit the little side button that lets me jump forward, and I'll see I'm like 2 and 3 minutes behind. It happens. It is a warm day. But I like it. Lack of afternoon coffee. Yeah, that could sometimes be the case. Though when it gets to summer, I tend to switch to iced tea for the afternoons, just because it's sometimes just too damn hot to stay that way. I think my better half has finally finished her day at work. Yay! For her. Yeah. She's been working crazy overtime lately, and it's helpful but stressful.
It's exhausting.
She says exhausting. Oh, well, I don't do iced coffee. No. Coffee should be 2 ways, hot and black. Last time I had one of those lattes, hell, I had the jitters for about 3 hours. It was just like, could not do it.
Are you talking about the macchiato we had the other day?
Yes.
Oh, it was so good.
Yes, my wife said, let's go to this place that serves those special coffee drinks. No, not Starbucks. No. I'm really not a Starbucks fan. But we had caramel macchiatos, and the place we go to has good strong coffee. It still actually tastes like coffee, but all the sugar and stuff in it just really gets me just can't do it.
And I slammed mine like a shot.
Yeah, that's true. She powers slurps hers. I'm just barely sipping on mine. Ron, that happens mostly because Useless Tube doesn't have the bandwidth to keep up with all the content that's coming through anymore. No, not Tim Hortons. It's a place called Dunn Brothers. Dunnbros. Period. But I like their coffee a whole lot more than I like Starbucks. It doesn't taste burnt. And they roast it there in the building instead of having it roasted in some factory and then shipped. And the factory that Starbucks uses, they burn the hell out of their stuff. That's why they got to add so much crap to your coffee, because they got to take away that burnt flavor. Oh, now, I used to drink coffee from morning to night when I worked construction in the plants. But when you're working around machinery that's pumping out 150-degree heat, you get back to drinking that coffee that's still hot, but it doesn't feel hot. It's actually safer than drinking iced water at that point, because it won't put you in shock. Now, Boris, I'm with you on the espresso and the regular coffees, but really my favorite is slow pour, where you put a big carafe out there and you pour hot water directly onto the grounds and it drips through real slow like. Now, don't get me wrong, cold water will help you stay hydrated and cool. But if you drink too much cold water in extremely hot conditions, it can actually put you in shock, which is more dangerous than not drinking the water in the first place. Seen it happen. People just fall out. The McDonald's black coffee will make you shake? Well, I'll have to give it a shot at some point in time, but it never really got me that way. Though the McDonald's coffee is not terrible, I can produce better coffee at the house, though. Or at least my wife tells me so, and so therefore I agree with her because she tells me my own opinion all the time. I just got the look. So if suddenly y'all hear a gong and I'm laying over into the corner, it's because I got hit in the head with a freaking cast iron skillet. She's not going to waste a bullet in today's can't hardly buy 9mm world, not when she can just hit me in the head with a cast iron pan. And because I'm hard-headed, I'm going to get away with saying some things because she's also a little afraid of breaking that cast iron skillet. It is not a bowl call, but it can be. Hey, we're at an hour and a half in. Let's go. Second, third, fourth, whatever it is, bowl call. What are you smoking? What are you smoking it in? I am still smoking an Alec Bradley Black Market Robusto. That it's been smoking for almost an hour and a half is a wonderful thing. Now, Boris, I could completely get along with doing slow pour at a place that has no electricity. I know how to boil water. In fact, I can boil water in a paper sack. People think I'm crazy when I tell them that. But it's pretty simple. When you put the sack out there on the grate, you just make sure that the fire is below the top level of the water. It'll boil. The water cools the bag. The bag allows the heat to transfer to the water. It will boil. Still smoking a La Hacienda Cubana Core. I might have to see about getting one of those. Sounds pretty tasty. And yes, I do know there's going to be people that say, I'm crazy, you can't boil water in a paper bag. Yes, you can. You actually can. In fact, I learned how to do it by reading some Louis L'Amour books where the guy said he was boiling water in a birch bark bowl. If you peel bark off of a birch tree, you can fashion it into a bowl. And I wanted to know how it was done, so I gave it a shot and found out that you can do it. Well, Cliff, sorry that you're having to go buy shrimp. I already did that today. Woohoo! Though I didn't get the big ones. I got smaller ones. There's a way to do scampi style shrimp in the oven. You can do like 2 pans on a baking sheet.
2 pounds.
Yeah, 2 pounds, not pans. You can do 2 pounds on a baking sheet. Pretty easy. Oh, thank you, Sharon. I like this shirt also. My loving wife got it for me. I almost always get something Raiders for Christmas. She knows I like the team and that it's always easy to get me something that says Raiders, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. Y'all call it a lipo. Okay. I did not know that a birch bark bowl in Finland is called a lipo. But that's an interesting thing. Oh yeah, DDT. Easiest way to make breakfast. You can boil as many eggs as you can fit in a paper sack as long as you put enough water in it. And the parents will think you're crazy when you start. And then when you're done, they're like, that shouldn't have worked. Fire should have burned up the bag. It doesn't. But yeah, it's one of those weird, interesting tricks of the trade for survival. "17th of August. All right, so everybody mark your calendars. Paul is going live on his birthday, the 17th of August. I don't have a calendar out here with me. I can't mark the calendar, but I'm going to try and remember. Now, Sharon is saying that Paul will finally be 21 on the 17th. Just remember, Sharon, when Paul actually gets to 42, you can trade him in on 2 21-year-olds. Oh, he'll be 49. Gonna have to wait for next year when you can trade him in on 2 25-year-olds. There's that good old Texas music as somebody's doing some more yard work. Paul, don't worry about it. I'm never growing up either. Well, there's an idea there, James. You know, yeah. Two 24-year-olds and keep the change. Go. She said nope, she's going to keep the original model. Think we damn near got Paul to cussing at Sharon over there. And speak for yourself, Boris. I will not be 9 for another couple of years. According to Holly, I would be lucky to see 10. She's the only 10 I need, so I'm good there. Pansy landers? Okay. Ron, that's kind of weird, but okay. Paul still has his Spider-Man wife runs. Well, I refuse to be likewise dressed in Captain America, even though that would be as close as I'm going to get. Right, Scott? Y'all lost to a bunch of pansies. What the hell's wrong with you? If y'all think it just got dark, it's because it did. All the blue sky is replaced with gray cloud. Now, Ron, you know I'm going to have to go look that up now. Not that you got the mention, but just that there's actually a National Lampoon magazine. I thought that was all just movies with Chevy Chase. Scott, I won't say that you're wrong, that you might be welcoming a storm there, but if it rains the way I'm expecting it to, I don't think anybody's welcoming that kind of a storm. It tends to drop inches of water in an hour. Normally it chases all of us folk that are not trying to drown back indoors. No, that is not a rattlesnake. That is actually a cicada. There's some loud bugs. They're these big, ugly, fly-looking things is what they are. And what they are before they're the fly is almost scary looking. It's like this beetle with large hook-like pincers in front. They say they can reach 120 or more decibels. So they don't actually have to be anywhere near you to be really annoyingly loud. And Scott's got that right. If you've never experienced them in first person, you just have no clue how loud they can get. And you can't tell where they are because there's 8 or 9 of them out there doing their little rattle thing, which is what makes all that noise. And yes, I actually would understand exactly what a rattlesnake sounds like. So y'all see me jumping and hopping, it's because I've actually seen a rattlesnake. Yeah, they're about as loud as a lawnmower. Actually, Paul, with rattlesnakes, as long as you are leaving them alone, they will tend to leave you alone. They can smell you and hear you a lot farther away than you'd really believe. Now, they are dangerous. I wouldn't suggest going out there and playing with one, but for the most part, snakes, at least here in America, are fairly docile. I mean, if you hear one rattling, though, you definitely want to take stock of where in the hell they are and figure it out and back away from them. Rattlesnakes are just telling you, hey, you're too close to me, leave me alone. And yes, they will bite, but you got to either be stepping on them or quite literally you got to walk up on them oblivious. And well, rattlesnakes are never oblivious, so they're going to try and rattle before you get up to them. Boris, rattlesnakes are actually really, really tasty. You just got to make sure that when you're getting a rattlesnake that you go after the ones that don't have lumps. Because if they're digesting something, the whole track of their stomach can be filled with that poison, which could easily turn all of the meat that is possible poisonous. So you look for the ones that don't have a definite lump. I've seen one that had a rabbit-sized lump, so I knew it pretty much had either gotten a prairie dog or a rabbit or something. Those are the ones that you leave alone, let them finish digesting. If you see them again at some other point and they look more narrow, not with a lump, then they're okay to eat. But you got to make sure to get them far enough behind the head that you have eliminated the poison gland when you kill them. And you kill them by cutting their head off. But it's good eating. It's damn good eating. Actually, almost all the reptiles are good eating because they don't keep fat, so it's all muscle. But with any of the poisonous snakes, it's all pretty much the same. If you see them with a big lump, you leave that one alone. The stuff that they are digesting can have a toxic level of poison in it, and it could, before you can skin it and get the meat off of it, it could poison the whole snake, thereby poisoning you when you go to eat it. I have had the common European viper one time. Somebody else prepared it, but it was okay. Yes, some snakes do taste like chicken, and some don't. I haven't had every snake on the planet, so I'm not gonna start trying to tell you which ones do and don't. Martin, that's a black market Robusto from Alec Bradley. It's kind of my go-to stick. I like it for when I'm doing these kind of lives because I don't have to think about it. I already know what it tastes like. I'm not going to be shocked and amazed by some flavors that I've never expected. Oh, very nice. You know I'm going to be there, Martin. I've got 60 hours in. I can't let somebody catch up to me. Really, the only person I've got to worry about that is Boris. Sorry, Boris, I'm not going to let you catch me tonight. Martin's cohort in crime is Derek. Unless, of course, you're talking about Little McFly. And, well, you know, everybody knows McFly. We all love McFly. Derek is out for 2 weeks. Does that mean we have Trophy Wife as the co-host tonight? Or did you strong arm another friend? Oh, running solo. That means that we've got a greater chance of malfunction. Yeah, he does kind of remind you of John Ritter. Starting to get a little warm, and the jacket was cracked in some spots. case y'all are wondering why I'm not smoking something right now. Whew. Oh, that feels wonderful. All the cloud bank has covered up the sun, and a little bit of wind is picking up. This suddenly cool breeze blows in. Houston is not always hot, but when it is, it's nasty. Of course, that means it's probably going to end up raining. If it does start raining too hard, I'm going to probably have to end this because, well, I'm too close to the edge of the overhang, and therefore all the electronics getting wet. Not good for the electronics. I don't feel like putting my phone in a bag of rice. Oh, let's check to see if it looks like Chad's coming on or not. Looks like the answer to that is not. Paul, type something in, Paul. Sharon's looking for you, Paul. Whew. It must have dropped 10 degrees. So nice. So now instead of sweating profusely, I'm just sweating. Unfortunately, I'm out here without any fluid, so I probably will be calling this here in another couple of minutes. Not because I want to leave everybody without some entertainment, but I don't want to go inside and leave y'all just watching as I go and find something refreshingly cold to drink. So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry that Chad's not on this evening for whatever reason. We'll see what we can do about finding out if there's any issues we need to look for him. House of Windsor Cappuccino T418 in a black billiard, the pipe. That sounds pretty interesting there, Ron. Does it have a good coffee flavor? That's always my worry about smoking a cappuccino or coffee flavored tobacco is I'm expecting something, and is it going to match what my expectations are? Well, alright, folks. I've been over here yammering at y'all for about 2 hours now. And, not that I've lost things to say, but I'm a little parched. And it's really feeling like that rain's going to come in on me. Creamy with a little coffee. That sounds pretty good. So, thank y'all for being here. Been so much fun having y'all in. Glad we could hang out. And hopefully we can do this again pretty soon. Y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Y'all do the best you can on that. I'll try from my end. And as per always, long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. Y'all take care, and well, hopefully I'll see you on cane rods and then again on martins. Talk to y'all later. Bye now. Oh, I didn't expect Chad not to be there.